I'm Ella Williams from Lakes Grammar, and this is my entry for the National History Challenge for 2017. I have chosen to research and tell you about an amazing young man who you wouldn't even know existed. He and many other thousands of men and women chose to give up their lives to make a better world for us all. This is the story of my great-great-uncle, George Albert Cruickshank. George was born in St Leonards, New South Wales on the 12th of December 1891. He was the second eldest son in a large family of 9 children. When George left school, he became a carpenter, working for his father, who was a builder. He was a typical, hard-working Australian young man. On the 28th of July 1915, he enlisted in the Australian Army at just 23 years of age. He embarked for service 3.5 months later as a gunner in the 5th Australian Artillery Battalion and was headed to join the war on the Great Western Front. Having newly entered the war, they were sent to an area of the front line that was called the nursery, while they learnt to use their weapons of modern warfare. Although considered to be the quiet sector, there were periods of fighting, shelling, and some heavy raids. They arrived at the nursery in April, and by the end of June, over 600 men had been killed. At the start of my video, I gave an account of the day George and another bombardier, Stanley Gordon Smith, worked together so bravely to save another man, and both received a military medal for their bravery and devotion to duty under fire. But this is only the beginning of George's war service. In July 1916, George was promoted from a gunner to a bombardier for the Battle of Somme in France. The battle commenced at 6 p.m. on 19th of July 1916 and suffered heavily in the hands of German machine gunners. By 8 a.m. on the next day, the battle was over. The 5th Australian Division suffered a staggering 5,533 casualties in just 14 hours, rendering it incapable of offensive action for many months. The German casualties were a little more than 1,000. The Battle of Fromelles remains the greatest loss of Australian lives in a single battle. The battle was intended to speed up victory for the Allies and was the largest battle of the First World War on the Western Front. More than 3 million men fought in this battle, and 1 million men were wounded or killed, making this one of the bloodiest battles in history. So what happened to George? In September 1917, he was promoted to a corporal. In November, he went on leave to the UK and returned after just 2 weeks. In February 1918, George was promoted to a sergeant. Then just 2 months later, on the 24th of April 1918, George was killed instantly when a shell hit his dugout. He was buried in France. I have no doubt that Sergeant George Albert Cruickshank played a very important role in making the world a better place for the men he saved, for the men within the battalion, and for the men he fought alongside. I believe the efforts, the many thousands of unsung heroes like George, helped to make our world, our Australia, the place it is today. Without the sacrifice, determination, and bravery of all our Defence Force personnel, past and present, our world could be completely different. They have all contributed to make a better world for us all.